Hey YouTube, this is going to be a weight loss update, just a short one. Second week that I plateaued, missed 1 day in the last 2 weeks, and I do believe I'm at 170 miles for the last 2 weeks. I'm almost up to what I've done in previous years. Doing some looking, last 2 years I've ridden a little over 3,300 miles. June was the only month that I didn't have any riding besides the winter. Usually in March and February, you might get a couple of days where you can ride where the snow's melted enough to get out there and it's warm enough to go out and ride, but for the most part, February, March, and usually not too much in April. Those are all months I usually miss. If it's just straight downpouring, I won't go out. But if you can see, I am wet because it's been spitting since I started, and I needed to stop and let my hands warm up. Although I have full finger gloves, once your hands get cold, it takes forever to warm up if you're just relying on the gloves. So I decided to stop and try to get some feeling back in my fingers. Still weighing around between 276 and 278. And plateaus are a thing no matter what kind of weight loss goals you have, they're going to happen. But I had to skip a day on this bike and ride the electric because the suspension seat post just got to the point it was so wobbly that I couldn't ride on it anymore. So I got rid of it. I gotta check this camera. It looks like you pointed at the ground, and you probably can't see me very well. So we'll tip it back up a little bit. So, that being said, I went online and bought a seat post. I didn't have a lot of choices because I didn't want another pogo stick, and right now I can't really afford to put $180, $190 into a seat post. So I bought a Uno, which is, this company's been around forever. They were making cheap parts back in the 80s. So I bought an Uno seat post, and because one, it couldn't be very long because the way the bike is built, it'll hit the water bottle mounting bosses on the inside. So I had to make sure I got one that was short enough and long enough to suit what I need. But it works out pretty good. It's 350 millimeters long, and it's the same size that's on my electric XP. I haven't really looked at the wife's bike as far as the seat post and stuff. When that seat that she has on the bike gets to the point that it's wore out, I'll replace the seat post and the seat at the same time. But until then, it's just gonna stay like it is. She likes the seat that comes on the stock electric because it's a combo seat. It's both men and women's orientated, kind of. But you guys all know how I feel about seats. So as the weather gets colder and rainier, I tend to ride shorter rides, so I try to ride faster and at least get my aerobic exercise for the week. This week it's supposed to be Wednesday. It's supposed to be rainy. I won't be riding because we have some business to attend to, so that's gonna keep me from riding that day. I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up taking all day, and I got to be there whether I want to or not. It's not concerning me, but it's just something I have to do. the the chain was making some noise on this bike, and it came down to, it was the jockey wheels, depends on what you want to call them. Shimano calls them pulley wheels. Had enough gunk on the inside, it was pushing the chain line out of a little bit, so it was causing a little ticking noise. So I checked the chain again last night to see, since it's been almost 400 miles since I checked it the last time, and we're still good. So these e-bike chains seem to be built sturdier. I imagine if I was using a performance line or a higher torque motor, that I would probably see a little more chain stretch, but seems to be holding up. I might get another 400 miles out of it, because I'm 0.75 is the wear limit on the chain over the entire length. So e-bike chains tend to be longer. I think this one's 136 links. So you get stuck buying an e-bike chain pretty much, because like Karen's bike is probably even longer than that. The day I change hers, which is a ways the way she rides lately, it'll be next year or the year after before she needs a new chain. If you guys really want to know how to see how long of chain you have, just take the chain off and measure it with a tape measure. Make sure it's good and straight. And 12 links equals 12 inches, basically. So measure the total length of the chain and times that length by, well, if it's 136 inches long, then you know you need 136 links. If it's a little over 136, say between 136 and 137, you still need 136 links, because that means the chain is stretched some. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a chain length. You can take the old chain off, measure it, and come up with a measurement. Shimano. This chain, I ordered one thinking that it would be a little longer than normal, but I didn't think it'd be 136 links. I had to call and ask Trek what the length was, since they don't advertise it. So 136 links makes the chain quite a bit. You're putting 20 more links on it, so that's 20 more inches over a standard size chain, and that makes it it's usually about $4 a foot for chain. You can buy a chain in bulk. Maybe the average user can't, and you shouldn't, because it comes in like 50-foot lengths in bulk, and then you end up having a mess of a chain. I mean, if you're riding some kind of obsolete bike with an obsolete chain, then maybe you need to buy bulk, but for the most part, the standard hasn't changed over the years. I would say that even 7-speed bikes, even though you may not be able to buy a shifter after a while, the derailleur really doesn't matter. It doesn't care how many gears you have on there, to a point. The jockey wheels and the distance between the jockey wheels may change with the narrowness of the chain. But for the most part, 8-speed's still around, and probably still will be around for a while. When I was a kid growing up, the multi-speed bikes were 10 speeds, so you had and then it went to 6-speed, and then matter of fact, I think my Trek was a 12-speed. No, it was a 14-speed. I don't remember. Anyway, that was years ago. That was I bought that bike in 1990, I think. I bought it. So now low-end Shimano bikes are rocking 9-speed. These hubs will accommodate 10-speed if I wanted to update it some. Alivio is 3 steps up from the bottom. So you got Turney, Axera, Olivio, Diore, which used to be called LX, SLX, depending on what kind of bike it is, XT and XTR. XTR is the cost about $1,000 for the group or more. So to give you an idea for most of you, and on most bikes you're not going to see no benefit from upgrading other than loss. It weighs less. So if you're trying to make your, say, your XP as light as possible, the best way to do it is just start looking at things and how much they weigh and buying the lowest weight item that you can. You might get your XP without the fenders. You might be able to get it down to about 43, 44 pounds without the fenders and rack. Just depends on how much money you want to spend. Well, I'm going to call this a video. Basically, I didn't really have any weight loss for the week. I slowed down my riding because it's cold. It's 51 degrees out here, and with the rain, it just drops it down. And I needed to get dried off a little bit, and this is drying me off a little bit. My fingers are getting warm again. But those are all the things riding in the wintertime. These gloves, Giro gloves, Giro, their time, this is the last season I'll get out of them. They lasted 3 years, but the padding's pretty much gone, and I've almost wore the palms out. Well, and next week I'll be putting on my heated jacket. I'll be starting to wear that. Even if I don't turn the heat on, I'll have that available to keep my core warm if it's really cold. And if you keep your core warm, your hands stay warmer too. Well, that being said, I think I'll call it a video. I'll post this sometime today when I get home. Karen and her daughter are at the play. What is that called? Escanaba in the moonlight. In the moonlight. It's a good movie if you haven't watched it. It's so stupid it's funny. It's got Jeff Bridges in it. Check it out. Have a great day.